Hi, this is Aaron Chafee. Do we have any affiliate owners or managers joining us today? Carlos, do you think we're going to? Oh, okay.
I think they're all muted.
Oh. Hi, good afternoon. Anybody on the line?
Oh, admit all, yes.
Ah, there. Hi. Do we have folks?
Hello.
On? Hi. So let's see. So I think we've got about 5 affiliate owners and managers on the call. Do we have folks kind of say who's on the line?
Hi, this is Sue from Honolulu and Waikiki.
Hi, Sue. I think we all wish we were there. Thanks for joining.
That is great. Yeah.
Great.
Hi, this is Jenna and Esther from Seattle.
Hi, Jenna and Esther. Just so everybody knows, I'm going to turn it over to the board chair in a moment. I'm just kind of logistics here, getting everybody knowing who's on the call there. Thanks for joining, guys.
Hi, this is Peter from Santa Cruz, California.
Hi, Peter.
Hi.
For board members, Peter is president now of Santa Cruz Hostel Society, but folks will recognize Peter's name for the Fort Ord project for folks that have been on board.
Right.
Anyone else on the call? All righty. Peggy, as chair, I'll hand it over to you.
Okay, great. Well, welcome Sue, Jenna, Esther, and Peter to the first ever virtual forum between the Independent Affiliated Hostels, Inc. and our affiliate managers and owners. I really appreciate that you are joining us in this inaugural event. And after our time together, I think that we can each decide whether this is a good thing to do on an annual basis or whether there's a different way for us to communicate going forward. So this is very, very positive, and I'm so happy that the 4 of you have made the effort to be part of our meeting today. I know you can't see all of us, but I do want to tell you that in the room today here in Boston, we have most members of our senior staff, as well as most of our board members, 17 of our 19 board members. Now, our board members do come from 10 different states as well as the District of Columbia. And among us, our board members plus their staff, we represent a great variety and breadth and depth of professional experience and skill sets. As you know, the new affiliate program, Independent Affiliated Hostels, Inc., began only in January of this year. And the creation of this forum is part of our effort to sustain communication directly between this board of directors and our owners. Today, we expect this session to run about 60 to 90 minutes. We've allocated 90 minutes if we need that much time, and we'll have 3 separate segments of the program. One will be a quick update of how the Independent Affiliated Hostels has been performing in the last, since the first of the year. Then we'll have a snapshot of the overall hostel sector in the United States, and then we will talk about how the affiliation program is being promoted. The reporting segment will be followed by answering questions that have been submitted in advance. We have a variety of questions, 9 or 10 questions, some of which are operational and some of which have to do with governance. So we have people lined up to answer those questions for you. And then if there are additional questions that come from the floor, either from the board here assembled in Boston or from the four of you on the phone. We'll take them as they come and see how we end up. So I think with that, I'm going to turn the floor back to you.
Great.
Aaron.
Thank you, Peggy. So we've got Peggy and Charles from the board here at the head of the table, and we've got Helmut and Aaron, if you don't recognize us, for staff here. And Helmut and I are going to take the presentation at first, and then all of us will be joining for the questions. During the presentation, we've multiple media here for this session. So you would have received earlier today, you don't have to have it if you don't have it, but you would have received earlier today an email that had an attachment that has the slides. We'll be talking through everything that's on the slides, so you don't have to have that, but just so you know that hopefully that has, you've received that email. Seattle team, I'm not sure if that got forwarded to you, sorry. You should be fine if you don't have that. So we're just going to click into this first presentation. Any questions before we start?
No, I'm glad I have the slides. I'm taking a look at it.
Great, thanks, Sue. That's fantastic. Okay.
Yeah, the slides too.
Great. And then you'll hear a few interruptions because we're going to be, we don't have for this, we've got too many pieces of technology going on right now. So we don't have a clicker, so we're going to have somebody else helping click here. So go ahead, Carlos. Thanks. All righty. So this first section is just going to be the progress we've had since the new organization since January. Next slide. And there's just a little bit of background we'll go through here, just so folks, as a reminder, how we established this new program, the new relationship with affiliates since we did the new licensing January 1. This is his first slide. Really, one of the steps was to increase the attractiveness of affiliation. We had previously kind of hit a roadblock on folks wanting to affiliate, and we thought some of that was really, or we knew that some of that was structured around how the fee structure was and other requirements of affiliation. So we looked at how we could improve that. Then also we as a board, as staff, want to expand the HI network, both by locations and the diversity of hostels. And through that, the affiliate relationship really helps us on those efforts. We also, as an organization, want to focus on the increased demand of our guests and just really understand the continuous improvement we need to make in guest satisfaction and make a program that really addresses that. And then additionally, the fourth element that we have is increase the external transparency of the affiliate hostel program. We really wanted to make sure the public, whether they're constituents of High USA, whether they're our customers, understand this model that we have. We need to really understand that we're a 501c3 nonprofit as AYH or High USA, and we need to make sure the customers and our constituents understand the relationship we have with licensed hostels. Some of them are also 501c3s on their own standing, and then we also have folks that are also for-profit entities. So that was the background of what we were attempting to accomplish and work towards, and then the board put together a affiliate hostel structure task force that was made up of board members, of staff, and then also affiliate owners to tackle this effort of coming up with what's this new program going to look like. And we're on the next slide after that, that's task force recommendations. And out of those, these are the recommendations that the task force, again, board members, staff, and affiliate owners brought forward to the AYH or High USA board as what the new program could look like. Or not should look like. And then actually the board did accept this recommendation. The first, and so we'll quickly go through these. The first one was to establish a separate, although wholly controlled, taxable subsidiary. And so the AYH board controls that. But we really wanted to distinguish that the activity of this affiliate program does have for-profit folks involved. And so therefore, best to set up a taxable subsidiary to deal with that. We wanted to also recognize that hostels that are affiliated hostels are independently operated. We really needed to make this, when we did have the councils for folks that have been around a long time, we had lots of different organizations running the HI hostels. But then once we went through unification, we had one core group running the High USA, core associate hostels. And then we really felt that it was a need from the task force recommendations to let folks know when a hostel was independently operated. So we came up with a new logo. It's in the right-hand bottom corner of this slide, and folks are familiar with that. The other thing that we wanted to change, or we recommended to change, was what the revenue stream was to support this activity. Previously, it had been 3.5% on all bookings, no matter what distribution channels they came through or who created them. And the feeling through a lot of affiliates in that conversation was a feeling of, let me pay for what HI is driving towards my hostel. So the change there was to switch to the revenue stream and the fees coming from the booking fees of reservations that come through HiUSA or HI Hostels websites. We also then, making sure that there was awareness of us being a nonprofit and the services that we provide, and not anybody getting in any trouble because of that, because the services that we're providing are funded both by the earned income of our hostels, but also by donor funds that give us their donations. We wanted to make sure that any additional services that HiUSA is providing out to hostels needs to be at a market cost so that it's fair and the public understands that. Then we also wanted to be mindful in the structure of the new program that we weren't entering into any type of franchising model. Just a quick reason for that, I'll give you an example. Folks read about it in the news a year or two ago. McDonald's, lots of franchises. They all were deciding kind of how they were doing things on a staffing level, and all of their decisions that were wrong down at the individual franchising level came floating back up in a huge legal precedent for the main McDonald's. So I'm using something as a very commercial example, but it's an example of something we didn't want to get into trouble and have to deal with the legal costs of that. The other then recommendation included that we know that some hostels really enjoy putting on engagement and education programs, and we really appreciate that, and we want to encourage that. But we also understood that that isn't always possible. And so we removed any type of requirement from an affiliate hostel doing that, although making sure that for our associate hostels, it is really core to the associate, the 501c3 nonprofit hostels, that we do that. Then the last two remaining ones there is making sure that we still continue to have compliance with HI quality standards, making sure that we know the facilities are great, whether they're operated by HiUSA or they're a licensed facility. And then also we added to that as a requirement of maintaining guest satisfaction. So it's all great that we have an inspector come and check that the facilities are good, but it's really nowadays with so many online reviews, we need to make sure that the guests, and we're listening to the guests and what their satisfaction statements are, that we're responding to that. So we set an 85% requirement for guest satisfaction. And all those things came together, the board accepted those, and from there we created the new affiliate program and the licensing and a new entity, Independent Affiliated Hostels, Inc., and we started the licensing with the affiliates in January 2018. So since then, this slide, if you're looking at it and you're doing the tally, we're maybe not making as much progress as we wanted to because we've got some negatives along with some positives for adding hostels. But a little farther along in the presentation, we'll talk a little bit more about how we're prospecting and looking to add more affiliates to the network. Just a really quick snapshot, at the end of 2017, we had 18 hostels. As we went into 2018, so 2 hostels did not license. One, Merced Home Hostel. The Sorgis retired at the end of 2017, so they did not come into the new program. And then Miami Beach, based upon building infrastructure challenges that they were having for a considerable amount of time, was not licensed at the start of 2018. So we were at 16 hostels back in January of this year. Where are we now? So, yep, we're down 1 from there. We've got a great new one, Nashville, large hostel, so that's fantastic. But then we also had 2 smaller hostels, the Eagle Home Hostel, sort of a decision, a home hostel, so one individual running it who also still has another job, but looking towards really doing this as retirement and will likely come back as a licensed hostel once that gets all sorted out. But decided it was just too difficult to handle the online reservations. He had not been taking online reservations prior to this. And then also in a county park in Quakertown, Pennsylvania, the park system decided, once they lost their hostel manager, that they left, they decided that they were not going to continue to operate that hostel. So that's where we stand. We'll come back again a little bit farther into the presentation about other independent hostel operators that are chatting with us about licensing. So we look to grow that. Here's a quick map that we're showing where the affiliate locations for board members you see and affiliates, how we've got the blues are the affiliates, and how that nicely helps to flesh out the network throughout the U.S., provide representation for all the diversity of the U.S. I will admit sometimes the orange is covering up how I zoomed in on this. With Portland is unfortunately the blue is not kind of peeking out behind the orange, but we've got 2 hostels in Portland, Oregon. Next slide, please. So the key and the board, just so for affiliate owners and operators are aware, the board's been in a long conversation over the last few months about this concept of diversity of hostel experiences, that we have a very robust network of hostels. And this slide really represents the things that we look at, or the board looks at, staff looks at, on creating a diverse hostel network, and how then the affiliates also help to fit that. So we want a variety of sizes, locations, styles. We also want to provide the variety of the local destination for our travelers through the culture of the area, through the geography, through the community, through travel experiences. And all those, through the affiliate relationship, we're able to expand. There's a little pie chart there that's just kind of nice that it all kind of looks all nice, same size pie wedges there a little bit, but that's just the volume, not bed capacity, but it's actually the overnight that the affiliate relationship helps to provide. So again, that's a little bit of the size and style of the hostel that it helps to provide. So that is kind of the end there of where things stand. We're going to come back after this next section to talk a little bit about how we're doing on prospecting for new affiliates and how that outreach is going. But we're going to switch over for Helmut to give a little bit of a perspective on what's going on in the overall, not just HI, but the overall hostel sector in the U.S.
Well, thank you, Aaron, for the introduction. I'm Helmut Ruckert. I'm Senior Vice President of Programs for HI USA. I'm going to talk a little bit about the hostel market and the hostel sector in general in the United States and what the trends are. The chart, very similar to what you have seen before, is we are tracking 334 hostels in our database, and this does not include the 54 hostels that are right now under the HI USA umbrella. As you can see, most of the hostels are located in the West, and a very large percentage on the East Coast with Northeast and Southeast, and about 13% of the hostels that we are tracking in the center of the country. Out of those hostels, next slide. We looked at it and say, okay, so what is the size of the hostels in the market that we are tracking? And you can see that about 263 of the 334 are smaller hostels, less than 30 beds, and between 30 and 60, and then about 71 are larger hostels that have 60 or more beds, and 35 of them have 100 or more beds. And keep in mind, these do not include any of our own hostels. Then what Aaron said before is also what are the quality scores of the hostels out there. And because we are tracking our own hostels on Review Pro, we used Hostels, which is an OTA actually, and that rates hostels overall to see where we are. And we said 85% of is the threshold to be affiliated. And as you can see, there are a good number of hostels that are 85 and above, probably half of the ones that we are tracking. Next slide. So the hostel market itself is really dominated by independently owned and operated hostels of all size. And in the new trends that we see, besides Hi USA, there is USA Hostels, which is probably the next largest competitor for us. They own and operate 4 hostels, and everything else is independently owned and operated. Of importance is to point out that there are new entries coming into the market over the last really 2 or 3 years. We have seen companies and products that are supported by large capital that came into some of the gateways, and most significant is Freehand. That is now, they have now hostels open in 4 major markets. Generator, a European boutique operator, just opened in Miami with about 500 beds, and Selena, a product coming from South America, is entering the market in Miami. So there is a new trend coming from what used to be independently owned and operated to more larger companies coming in that are backed by major capital. And let's talk about some of the industry trends and what do we see where the hostel market and the hostel industry in general is going. There's definitely new markets and new products coming into to the market, and they are mostly upscale products. We see a lot of new low-cost transportation options coming, just Norwegian Air, WOW Airlines, that are revolutionizing the international travel. So it makes it more accessible to travel, long distances. But that also opens up new markets like Asia and New Zealand, Australia to the travelers. So there's more options to go and explore more parts of the world. And the trend on how these bookings are made is changing very, very rapidly. The OTAs came on a few years ago, and you would take your computer and make a reservation on the PC. Now everything is mobile, everything is immediately accessible, which then requires the operators to be very, very nimble, to have inventory available, at all times. And so the trend for our travelers is really also going to very, very last minute, spur of the moment type bookings. Then we saw that with Generator now taking the hostel name off. There is hotels and hostels are merging. It's getting harder to distinguish, certain products that are now coming to the market, and it's going upscale. So, and also that new product is focusing on what we have done best in hostels, is creating community. There is the trend of living like a local. So traditional hotel and hospitality products are now interfacing with what we are all about, and it gets more and more fluid. Next slide. Then also, what happens to the customers that are actually staying at hostels? So right now, about 80% are millennials, but Generation C is hot on their heels. So they are gaining more and more market share. And I got this information from a report called New Horizons. It just came out. It's the largest survey of youth travel in the world. It's being done every 4 years, and we just got that information about 6 weeks ago. we talk a lot about individual travelers and leisure travelers, but then there are some new groups emerging, and one of note is what they call digital nomads. Those are, are travelers that don't just travel on vacation for 2 weeks or for 2 months. They're actually taking their life on the road, and they take their work on the road, and they they are dialed in, and they can work remotely anywhere in the world with a PC. And that's it is a small, very, very small part of it now, but it shows incredible growth, and it will be more and more important, to look at that segment of that traveler. And while they work, they also want to go and experience different cultures and be immersed in different cultures. And, it's a lot of talk about to live like a local, to have local experiences, and, to meet other people. And that's exactly what we are all about, operating hostels. But as I said before, other companies like hotel companies have heard that, and they're focusing on that as well. And, last but not least, what used to be just the backpacker, there are some new phrases being developed, flash packers or posh packers. Those are, they travel like a backpacker, but they have a significantly larger budget and significantly higher expectations because of how they grew up, what their environment is, and how their parents do support them, in their travel. And this is actually a huge factor. Our customers, not a lot are doing it on their own steam and on their own budget, but there is a lot of support from parents to allow them to go and upgrade their experiences. Next slide. So that's a quick overview of where the industry is heading when it comes to accommodations, but also what the trends are for people that are using hostels, and what the development is for our customers going forward.
Great, thanks, Helmut. We can go to the next slide, Carlos. That'd be great. So this is really a discussion around what are we doing for our outreach to independent operators about joining and affiliating with HiUSA. I think key in this conversation is what Helmut was addressing on folks that are coming into the industry are focused on the hostel stay experience, local connection, all those things that HI has always been about. And so that's really great. We're already there. We own that space to a certain extent. They're taking their own spin on it. But what's really great with the affiliate group is talk about local. I mean, that we're really talking local. So the affiliate folks are usually not folks that have properties in 5 different locations. They've got, whether you're an operator or your owner, you're in one location, and lots of the folks that are on the call right now have been in those locations. Maybe it's different buildings, but for years and years and years. And the folks that own and operate are the local. So that's what's great about that, and that's why we want to continue to talk to independent operators that are local and connecting to the HiUSA and the Hi brand. So real quick here, this slide, what this is showing is when we're talking about prospects, who to go talk to about affiliation. The board saw this version of this slide previously, but for everyone else, what we've done is, there's some rounding here. This number, I think Helmut's slide said 109. This one says 108, so there's a little rounding there. But really what we've got is above the 85% mark for quality throughout the U.S. is that aren't part of HI currently, is 108 hostels. Now, in that, 38 of that are in markets that we currently serve. And as affiliates know, and they've requested, just the way we have concerns, is right now we're not licensing where we currently have a presence, and the market is already served by HiUSA. So when we're looking at who are we going to talk to, we take out those 38 out of the 108. Now we're at about 70. And you see in the bottom right-hand corner, though, it says 50 potential hostels. Really what we do then is try to take a look at the hostels that are in that group and say, hey, do you really have dorm space available? Sometimes they're just more of a small inn. You can't book an individual bed. Do you really have common space? Are you a little bit bigger than a really small home hostel that has only got 1 or 2 other sleeping rooms? So we do that, and we'll go to the next slide, and we're about 50. This tally in this is at 51, but these are the conversations. So since January, we got the current affiliates settled into the new model. That took a couple months, and then we really started going and saying, hey, okay, everything's running. Let's go chat with that about 50 hostels that are good and are going to be above 85% guest satisfaction. Which still would need to do inspections, so we're not sure if their facilities will match, but at least they're over 85% guest satisfaction. And 11 of them did give us a firm not interested. Lots of times, and I'll come into this in a moment. Here is the next one. We've got about 22 that are mixed, and they're maybes, and they're kind of thinking about it. And they're right now, maybe in the future, let me see. I just got on booking.com. I'm not sure if I need this. There are concerns around that are interesting. I think we're a great organization, but folks that run an individual hostel, sometimes we look like the big organization and a little corporate. So there's some fear there. It's not a definite no. And then also the cost of the initial evaluation, the affiliate is responsible for. So there's this question, is there going to be enough return on that investment for them? Those are where the maybes stand. We've got about 11 that are interested, are either currently being reviewed, whether they're looking at our standards, having that conversation, or actually we're going through the inspection process. There's about 6 in that number that also said, whoa, summer's really busy. Let me get through summer and then we'll come back, because boy, I think I'm going to have to make some adjustments to hit your quality standards. But those conversations are continuing. We do have 7 that there's not any response at all. And then there's 3 hostels that are in development right now that are very interested in joining High, but they're just at different stages. One of them could take up to 2 years, but those are interesting conversations too. So that's kind of what's going on there for the quality hostels out there that are in markets that are unserved by HI and where we are in the conversation. We can go to the next slide. This is a little brochure that we've put out. We've shared it with current affiliates. And I'm going to go through some of the next few slides in quick order that is about the highlights of joining HI. And we won't use the time today for that, but we've asked affiliate owners if they have feedback on that, if they think we should be positioning the conversation about the quality and the excitement of joining the High brand, to please help us. We can make adjustments. We can talk things through, figure out ways that we can address things that are great things for the affiliate group right now. We definitely want to share with other folks that are independent operators and have the ability to join the organization too, or the network. Next slide, Carlos. Thanks a lot. So key things for joining the network, and I'm going to go through these pretty quickly, but we really want folks that are going to share the same purpose that we're around for, creating this deeper understanding of people, places, and the world around us. We want other operators and owners to join in that, and it's just not about a cheap overnight stay. We love the concept that hostels are of different sizes. We want folks that have all different types of hostels talking to us, joining the network. And we really want to chat with folks that understand that internationally, both HI, but specifically High USA, that celebrated the quality and customer experience, the guest experience that we have inside our hostels, whether they're affiliate operated or associate operated. Really, the key requirements for folks is, again, I've said it before, 85% guest satisfaction, meeting HI quality standards, and that you're bookable on highusa.org and hihostels.com. So folks on this call know that, just making sure that we're aware of that the board is aware of what we've got going on here. And again, great to hear from affiliates after this call if you have things that we could address differently in this so we could get excitement around joining High. This is a slide there where we've got these bullet points because they sound and are pretty impressive and should make an impact in talking to somebody about licensing with High. We've got over 40 million annual overnights globally. There's a lot of hostels. So we're roughly around 3,600 hostels globally connected to High. That's pretty big. And everything we're doing from the web, whether it's on HI Hostels or HI USA and social media, is making a connection, and it's about that power of the brand that's out there. There's a recognition for HI, or Hostel International, HI USA. Also, we've got 89% network-wide guest satisfaction. Again, coming back to folks know they're getting a quality stay when they stay with HI USA. Next slide, if I could. Thanks. The key things that we're talking to folks about joining with the network. Again, we're coming back to we've got the largest hostel network. There's nobody that comes near at 3,600 worldwide hostels. We've got the power of HIUSA.org and Hi Hostels for two great websites that both have booking capabilities on there. They're distribution channels for hostels. We've got the quality standards, the guest satisfaction, really recognized as high quality organization. We've got a booking model through HIUSA and HI Hostels that has one of the most competitive booking commission structures. We've got a toll-free phone reservation routing ability, so it's easy to participate in our toll-free phone reservations for guests. I know with everybody having cell phones, that's kind of a dying breed, but it's nice to show that you still got it. There's the connection for HIUSA that we're part of UNWTO and White's Travel. And then obviously there's the ability for sharing best practices and our operating conference. And we've got questions about that operating conference that we'll get to, but we do have an operating conference where folks can attend and interact with our other operators. So again, here we're coming back to the map. There we are. There's the blue dots or the affiliates in the mix. You know, there's some open space on that map. There are hostels in that open space. It'd be nice for the quality locations for us to add some blue dots onto that map. So that's just a reference to that we've got some blank spaces there. And we are now wrapping up, and we're going to go into questions. And we've got 9 submitted questions. Peggy, did you want to anything, or should we just launch in? Or?
Well, let's just take a breath right now.
Okay.
And see if Sue, Jenna, Esther, Peter, are there any questions that you might have about the presentations that you Aaron and Helmut just ran through? Questions? Need amplification?
Not at this time.
Not now.
Okay, and let me ask the board members, do you have some questions about the materials that were just presented? For Aaron, all set? Okay, great, on to the questions.
Alrighty, we're going to work off, we've kind of got a list of them here. So we've kind of broken them up into strategy questions. Peggy referred to this in operational questions. And then we're going to try to focus that Charles is mainly addressing the strategy or governance questions as a board member. And then Helmut and I will, I hate to use the term tackle, but we will respond to the ones that are more operational, and we'll work through that list. And we're going to state the question that was submitted by affiliate owner or operator. Might at times have a little paraphrasing, but really it's just sometimes they're pretty long. But we'll get to the core of the question. And Charles, you're first up.
Thank you, Aaron. Good afternoon, everybody, and I am Charles Hokinson. I'm one of the vice chairs of the board. I also served as a member of the Affiliate Hostel Structure Task Force that came up with the recommendations that led into the new organization of the IAH. I'm going to handle 2 questions that came in that were governance related. Both of them are really dealing with the relationship between our independent hostels and HIUSA. The first question, they're very closely related, so I'm going to mention the 2 questions and provide a brief response. The first question is, can you please provide more details regarding the eventual representation between the affiliates and HIUSA? And then the second question is, now that the affiliate hostel rep position has been eliminated from the national board, how does the board plan to stay informed of the relationship and the issues with affiliates within the organization? We realize that staff reporting will be one way. However, as well-intentioned as the staff is, other perspectives are important. So the first thing I wanted to acknowledge, and as has been acknowledged, is that we do have a new entity in independent affiliated hostels that came out of the Affiliate Hostel Structure Task Force recommendations that the board adopted, and that is now, as we know, an entity. And it's been structured purposefully as a fully controlled subsidiary of American Youth Hostels Incorporated, which does business as Hi USA. The board of the independent affiliated hostels is essentially the same as the board of AYH, same as Hi USA board. And the bylaws of both entities have been structured to avoid conflicts of interest for a number of the considerations that Aaron spoke about earlier as part of the rationale for the changes that went into effect in January. One element of those changes is the restriction on staff or affiliate owners being on the governing boards of Hi USA or the new IAH board. So from that perspective, there is no affiliate owner anymore on the governing board. And going to the first question that talked about the eventual representation, we would not be envisioning that there would be a change to that. The second question, though, talked more about how the board can stay engaged or stay informed on the relationship with the affiliates. And so it's been important to the board that as hostelers and as partners in AYH, that we understand the importance of hearing from all of our stakeholders, including the affiliates that are in our network. And through the work of the affiliate task force, it led to including a town hall in May 2017 with a larger group of affiliate owners to address some of the concerns, to hear and voice how this might work in implementation. And from that, it was recommended that we try an annual virtual forum, and that attending in person would be an option as well, so that affiliate owners and board members could have the interaction and representation of thoughts that I think the second question is getting at. And this is what's happening right now, and I really appreciate that everybody on the line is dialing in for a Saturday presentation, because this allowed us to be able to assemble 17 of our 19 board members to really hear these presentations and then address these questions, and then also hear from you additional questions. And that's one of the ways that we're trying to figure out how to do this staying informed. During the May 2017 meeting, I also wanted to mention that there was discussion about the affiliate owners selecting a representative to participate in the annual forum, this event. But the major opinion at the meeting was to have the annual forum open to all owners for their own representation. Staff have also informed me that affiliate owners earlier in the year discussed on the phone a couple of calls that they might select a representative that they would fund to attend the forum, but that the affiliate owners decided not to move forward with that. And so that's sort of the summary I have of where we are right now. And I think that following this, we'll be able to get feedback from our board and also through staff feedback from you that are intending to see if this is a good way, the best way of engaging and getting that representation between our two entities.
Thanks, Charles. And if we'll pause after each question, if there is any additional questions from any of the affiliate owners or operators associated with that question, or if any board members have anything else, we'll then just kind of move to the next question, but we'll pause each time.
All right, so I can take the next question. This was about the future expansion goals for Hi USA, specifically about what does Hi USA have in terms of plans for expansion, and if so, where? I want to just give some brief background about expansion and what the goals are, especially because of Vision 2020 and our ENDS policy. The network expansion is addressed in Vision 2020 in the document, and it defines the goals for the organization to be a vibrant presence in communities across the United States, and in the ENDS policy to provide a safe and diverse hosteling experience. This is met by being represented in communities large and small, both face-to-face and virtual. Now, Hi USA, we are committed to growing the portfolio, and hostels are certainly a focal presence in communities that can sustain them. Over the last few years, we have begun to prioritize some markets and major markets for expansion to identify of what markets we should be looking at, and evaluated those communities on a variety of factors. And these also included small and mid-sized markets. Now, portfolio growth is achieved through several ways. I mean, first and foremost, what most people are thinking when it comes to expansion is to add more hostels. But it's also done through adding more capacity to existing hostels. And last but not least, to also increase our affiliate hostel partnerships, throughout the country. Now, there are a few hostels in the planning stages, and one of them is in New Orleans. We are currently developing 215 beds on Canal Street, which is right in the center of New Orleans and close to the French Quarter. We are targeting to have that hostel open by February 1st. And we are also looking at other markets, especially Atlanta. And Aaron and I will go there to scout locations and properties in the next few weeks.
Any questions? Alrighty, the next one's around the new fee structure, and then also a question on the financial impact to Hyatt USA with the change. So I'll read the specific question. Please provide info on the financial impact of the new commission structure has had on Hyatt USA. Has it helped or had a negative relationship on its Hyatt USA's financial health? So we did look at this when we switched this, and folks who were on the task force are aware we did some pro forma kind of modeling of what we thought things would be doing. We'd hoped, I would say, that we would license more a little bit more quickly, and had hoped so there would be a little bit more coming through on the commission structure. So that is lagging a little bit. I'd say we've also had Yosemite, for folks that aren't aware, had a rough summer with their fires. So there's those types of things that hit, and that would have been the model of the 3.5% fee, or whether it's on overall overnights, or whether it's on this commission. So, and Nashville's had a very difficult time also kind of getting a new property management system up and running, and their ability to allocate beds out. So there's a couple examples where things are lagging a little behind where we thought they would be, but we're looking at that. We structured a model with providing some staff to assist the affiliates on making sure they're online and staying connected to the organization, and also the ability to prospects for affiliates. So we've got that in the mix for a cost, but we're also being very mindful of how we're balancing those costs and revenues. But sharing that it's a little off. So, any questions? Alrighty, the next one I've got also membership requirement. Question is the organization moving towards a system in which every hostel in the network treats membership in exactly the same way? So this is about access to the hostel, to the stay, and about the membership requirement for our guests. So just so folks are aware, I think the affiliate operators are informed, but for the board's knowledge, what we've done is High, so International High, has two ways of meeting the membership requirement. Either all guests must be a member, or if you have a member that arrives, to provide them a discount for their stay, recognizing the membership, the international membership. With the change in the program, we evaluated the look for having an affiliate requiring membership in a nonprofit organization as a right to stay at the hostel, and that didn't seem to make sense. So we said, okay, so now we're going to be looking at going to the discount. We've got to do either one or the other if the hostel's branded HI. So that was the model. for the affiliates. And although we still consider it, and both the board knows we're looking at different approaches to a community of travelers and how membership is intermixed in that consumer community of travelers, that we're still mindful that we want to be membership oriented and have the requirement of membership from everyone that stays at our hostel. So, and a portion of that is around our nonprofit standing. So again, we'll be considering that more and more over the next few years, but that then made it that the associate hostels require membership. I know where this question came from, and it is in one of the communities. I think this does create a little confusion. It's Portland, where we have an affiliate and we have an associate hostel, and they do have a different model in how you treat membership at check-in. So it's a little bit of a challenge. The one thing, as we looked at this, we do know that it's all about communication to the guests, and it is a situation where all HI hostels, so all 3,600 across the globe, are handling membership requirement for access in two different ways. So we appreciated that and made this decision that it would be the two different ways. So the question is, will it ever be the same way? Right now we established that it's different. Again, we'll be evaluating membership requirement, how that fits to the community of travelers movement that we're working on also as an organization, and things will likely be evolving in this area. Any questions?
All right. The next question was regarding our national meetings and how the structure of that would be going forward. And I will read this question verbatim. There was talk about structuring the annual managers meeting program summit to involve affiliate operators for the purpose of networking among all high hostel operators and training purposes. From past experience, the current staff may need an outside consultant to accomplish this in an effective manner. Will the board support this in some similar method to make this happen? So I will answer this question about the actual meetings and how the meetings will come all about and what the current status is, and then I will refer to Charles to elaborate a little bit more on this as well. So for the last 3 years, we had 3 major annual meetings, and one was the North American Managers Meeting, NAM, and our Programs Summit. And for both events, staff and the owners of the affiliate hostels were invited to participate and to send staff. Now, NAM we held in Puerto Rico in April this year with Canada, as a partner, and that is an annual event. A few years back, there was also Mexico involved, but now we're there for 2 national organizations, and we also do invite other national organizations like the Germans are coming every year and they are sending 4 or 5 managers over. And there's also some interest from some other national organizations to probably send delegates. Now going forward, NAM will be held every other year. So next time around, Canada will be hosting in spring 2020, and the United States turn will be in 22. So NAM will go from an annual format into a every other year format, starting next year. Now with the engagement summit that we are holding every fall, that really has gone through, it has continuously evolved over the last few years from what used to be just the engagement staff to an all-out managers meeting that High USA is holding every year. Now, since we have done the restructure, we have had more focus on individual operations-focused meetings on the West Coast and on the East Coast. We also had meetings for large-scale and medium and small-scale meetings to make it more, user-friendly and to make it more specific. And we also do engagement meetings in fall with engagement and education. and also with the sales and revenue division. So what we are doing after the restructure is having more function-specific meetings to address operational needs. The format and scope of the program summit as an organization-wide meeting is currently being discussed, and more information is forthcoming. But in any case, affiliate representation will continue to be encouraged and welcome. John?
So I'm just going to add in, because the last part of that question mentioned the board, and that question was, will the board support this or some similar method to make this happen? So I thought, on behalf of the board, I wanted to just mention that the board is receptive to opportunities to provide training opportunities or exchange of ideas, strengthening relationships between the managers. We are, however, a governance and policy setting board, and so we don't get involved in the details of the operational directives. So I wouldn't anticipate that the board would direct any specific course of action, but I know that having talked to staff, that they're very appreciative of ideas like this, suggestions, and that the staff is considering how to proceed while managing a number of cost considerations and other considerations.
Any questions? All righty, we've got three more questions, and we'll open up the floor here. So the next one, and we've got a little bit of feedback. We were doing really well, so I didn't ask anybody to mute their phones, and it's really not that bad, but there's a little bit of feedback on the phone. So if you're able to mute, but then when you want to ask a question, make sure to unmute. It would be great. There we go. Perfect. Thank you. Alrighty, a question. My main question right now is to find out the reason that job positions for affiliate hostels cannot be listed on the hiusa.org website. Maybe there could be a link to another web page that is just for jobs at affiliate HI hostels. So kind of two parts to that conversation, and I'm going to say that this is something that we can revisit and think about also. One is just kind of a technology side of the equation, and we don't need to get bogged down into it really, but it's just we moved our applications onto an outside Taleo human resource information system, and that's what it's linking to, and that's how we manage all of our job applications, is this kind of outside piece of technology. And we didn't have the ability to add affiliates onto that. So that was a structure and a decision on how we list those jobs. And it's running through a separate information system on that. So there's a technology little challenge there. But I think the other key that I need to mention is we did think through this a little bit, and there in the past have been, and this is two parts to this question. One is because whether a hostel is a 501c3 or not a 501c3. But I will say there's confusion with the posting of the job, and I'm not saying we can't figure out a way maybe to fix this, about who's the employer. And there's a real challenge with this job being posted on a 501c3's website as a nonprofit, and who's the person that's applying, and what are they thinking they're getting into when they apply. So there's that challenge we've got going on out there. Also, we've had challenges where the person came through, found out about the job, applied at the job, has some challenges on the job, and comes back to HiUSA because the job was posted on HiUSA. Now, granted, there's a lot of job boards out there, so folks figure out ways to work around this. I'm just saying there have been a lot of, not a lot, but there have been challenges that we tried to avoid there, and then we have the technology issue. So I'm going to leave it at this one, is that we can continue to have this conversation about this. Right now we have a little technology piece, and we're working on a new website also, or soon to start a new website. So this is definitely something we can continue to have the conversation about how we structure that website, because this question has a good follow-up sentence there that's a suggestion of how possibly it could get fixed, where it links out to another site or another page. So there maybe is a way that we can look at that for the new website. Questions? All right, we got another one here. With the new structure, how will HiUSA become more than just another online travel agent, such as Hostel World, to the affiliate hostels? That is the perception of many hostels as to where we have come in less than a year in time. So, two things there. I think it would be great to reflect on Hostel World, a powerful brand, But I think what we just talked about how we have hostels and we're prospecting for new hostels to join, and we talked about the power of the brand, power of the purpose of the organization, and I'd have to say that that's different than Hostel World. So I'd say there's something stronger there in that connection and how affiliates are there. But I gotta say, and the word's even in the question, perception rules, whether it's with our guests or whether it's with affiliate owners. And so if the perception's there, that there's a challenge and this just feels like an OTA, we've got to figure out how. We have a new structure. We need to protect our 501c3 status, protect the consumer understanding of what we are in licensing hostels, but we want to be a community. So we need to work on that. And so it's both of us working on it, both teams. It's affiliate owners and the staff team here also with High USA, figuring out how do we continue to maintain a relationship that we've had with a lot of people for a very, very, very long time that doesn't get too cold and clinical and OTA-like at all times. So that's, I'm just saying, let's all kind of roll up our sleeves and figure out how we're going to do that. I will come back to, though, that I've got to say the purpose of High USA and the power of our brand is different than just an OTA of Hostel World or Booking.com. Question?
I don't have a question. I have a comment. This is from Hawaii.
Yeah, Sue.
We have, at the time of check-in, we have actually a front and back 8.5 by 11 sheet of information. Whether they say one night or a week, we still present the basic things like smoke off the property, no drinking. But besides that, we try to open up with a little blurb I put on Aloha Spirit, which everyone has. We just use it a lot more. And with some of the values about cooperation, community, speaking to people. And then we also have the mission of HIUSA, primarily for young people, blah, blah, blah. So that is the introduction. That's the framework that I tell people, or we tell people. And with this, despite all our diverse backgrounds, beliefs, and practices, we can still meet here at this hostel in the spirit of aloha, a spirit of community. And that way you get to make friends. And really, we're all one people, the human people, that kind of thing. And so that helps to set, and if everyone can say that at the hostel, checks people in, that sets the tone, and whatever we have to offer or not offer, it's usually taken in a more positive spin. Does that make sense? But everyone, the new hire at the front desk or an old timer, like my Calabar sister, present that same attitude, and that will help to carry from the office onto their dormitories or when they sit around in the patio, that sort of thing. But it has to be everyone in this small organization needs to have that attitude, and that will help spill over, and people will figure out, okay, this is who we are, this is where we're at. They can accept it or not, but they usually say, yeah, you're right. Everyone's the same. But it has to start from the small guy who's sitting at the desk checking people in.
Thank you, Sue.
Does that make sense?
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, so I do have the last question of the day, and
No, they get to ask more. So the last of the pre-submitted ones.
The pre-submitted one, and I can make that super fast and super quick, but I could, but I will go and give some more background. So the question is, are High USA operations switching over to guest-centrics this fall as planned? Yes, we certainly are, and we are super excited about it. But to give you some background, already back in 2013, when we were finalizing the unification, we knew of the need to have one property management system for everyone. Right now, we're working on 3 different systems, and there are actually some hostels out there. They're actually manual. So already back then, we knew that there was a need to have one property management system for all the hostels, so we can go and set up our next generation reporting, and to get good intelligence and to streamline all the processes in the hostel. Now, back then in 2014, we have identified an Australian company that has a software called GuestCentrix. And ever since, we have worked with them to go and customize their system to what our needs are. And it has taken several years, and right now we have an implementation team of at least 5 people working on it, and we are constantly fine-tuning the system to get us ready for our last big push in the next few months. So we have 21 properties on the system right now. They are mostly small and our medium-sized hostels. We are going into DC in the next few weeks in fall, and we are hoping to have everyone on GuestCentrix by the end of this fiscal year, by the end of March. Because of the complexity of our gateways, it took us a little bit longer to get there. There's still some kinks to be worked out with credit card processing with a company called Shift4, but we have our teams working on it, and we are confident we're going to make it happen by the end of this fiscal year, and then to finally just have that one system in place, GuestCentrix. So we are excited about it.
And then, so Helmut, I'm just going to add on one thing, because I know the affiliates, Ron included everybody on this conversation. So this is Ron from Nashville, who's implemented GuestCentrix. And so a piece of that, my recommendation, because everybody would have seen the email from Ron, and he's had challenges, but he's had his own version of GuestCentrix that he wanted. Our just recommendation is we're very happy. And if you do use it, just stay on the version that's one step behind ours, because we're evolving and working the bugs out, and that's the best advice. And don't go and create your own version out there. Ron has good reasons why he needed to do that, but it's just a recommendation with that. So, so that's it for submitted questions.
So just asking the 4 folks on the phone, do you have some additional questions that you'd like one of our panelists to answer for you? Happy to take those questions now.
I have 2. So we need to go on to GuestCentrix by the end of next March.
Oh, so sorry, Sue.
This is Sue from Hawaii.
Yeah, Sue. No, thank you. So no, the reference there was that we're going to put all the High USA owned hostels onto it, because we're wanting to be able to see all the data all together. But affiliates don't have to go on it. It's just an option. So, and we've got other versions that we know that globally folks are using for property management systems, other ones also. So if there's an interest, we can definitely show different options out there. It's just the one we picked, but it's only the High USA hostels that owned hostels that have to go. So yeah, no, not requiring it.
Yeah, I looked into GuestCentrix 2-3 years ago, and it looked really great, but I thought, no, this is too much right now. So we're one of the hostels that are paper and pencil. So when people ask, what system are you on? I go, paper and pencil, and we seem to be doing all right. So, work out the kinks and see what you can do, instead of us trying to learn a whole new system and then have adjustments made. It's just too much, considering everything else we have to do at the hostel, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So let us know how it's working, work out the kinks for us, and, we can consider being part of that particular PMS.
Great.
And the second question is, are you folks thinking about looking to property in Waikiki as a part of the associate hostel system? It seems not, but.
So folks are aware. So, and previous at a board meeting, I briefly mentioned this, is their longtime lease in Waikiki won't be renewed. So they also have at the university, Honolulu, another property that they've had. Sue, how long have you been running your family been running the hostel at the university?
Since 1969.
Yeah, so for a while. So that's great. fantastic. So they have that, but the lease won't be renewed at Waikiki. And there's really a passion and a desire to figure out how can that move forward. And it's definitely something that we're looking at on whether it's trying to find another affiliate that has that same, as Sue said, aloha spirit, and is able to have that same relationship and the history. You can't find anybody that has that kind of history of offering hosteling there, but see if we can do that, or if there's an approach for our own development. So I know there's a real concern and desire to make sure that it continues to be that quality and mission-oriented experience there. So, and I appreciate that the board's hearing that concern there too. So.
Okay, all right. Yeah, because we'll be closing the Waikiki one by the end of 2019, or just 1 or 2 months before that. And if you happen to have 4.5 million, he might take it. 4.5 million. Nobody has 4.5 million? I don't have it. It'll probably get knocked down and be absorbed as part of some new hotel in that area. Okay, just wondering. Thank you.
Jenna or Esther, do you have questions?
I don't think that we do at this time.
All right, good. Peter?
The only question I have is, if I do have further questions, who would I communicate them with?
Talia.
Peter, you can, through Talia would be great. Feel free, since she's not here, so there might not be some context, feel free to CC me, and then if they're kind of at that governance and strategy level then I'll forward them on to Peggy also. But yeah, through Talia, but make sure to copy me since I have kind of the context of what went on here with me. This is Aaron, obviously.
Thanks.
Sorry, I have one more question. Do you have an organizational chart as to who's in charge of what? So I can have a copy of it so I know who to ask still. I mean, I love going to Talia. She and I have good conversations, but I can go straight to IT or straight to Aaron, for specific questions.
Yeah, so we'll get that to you. We'll try to figure out how we trim it down so it's not overly confusing with from how staff contact through operations managers and everything. So we'll get you a version of that, and we can get that out to all affiliates. No problem.
Okay. All right. I know. I have another question. Who would be the have you folks decided on who would be the inspector for 2019?
I think Nancy's still going to be around. So, folks, Nancy's a longtime inspector and for both associate hostels and affiliate hostels, and keeps toying with retirement. So, but I think after that, I'm not sure if Nancy will be around, but I think Nancy will be here for 2019. So, yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Are there members of the board of directors here in Boston that would like to ask questions? Okay. Well then, I'm going to close the meeting and please invite you, Peter, Sue, Jenna, and Esther, to get your comments back to you, Aaron, right? About the value of this forum, and if you'd like to see it continued, or do you have some suggestions for how we might do it differently? We are in an evolving relationship. Like I said, this is our inaugural effort to have this conversation, and your suggestions will be appreciated. I extend the same invitation to the board here in Boston to offer suggestions through our meeting evaluation about how we might do this differently to improve its value for all of us. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming together. We're right on time, and appreciate you coming.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Aloha. Bye-bye.